I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, the place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and an overall positive word. I'm your host, DJ, and today's episode is just about how it's okay to let go of those bonds and those friendships, those relationships, whatever it is that you've been holding on to, because whether it's out of guilt, out of a sense of responsibility, or whatever it is that's got you holding on to these friendships, these bonds, these ties, it's okay to start letting those people go. And man, I've just been doing a lot of, I guess no other way to put it, but soul searching these past couple of weeks, with therapy, with talking to some people very close to me. It's just, I've been having to really look at myself, and reassess, what's important to me. I know I said in last week's episode how I've been running away from the work that I need to be doing, and the things that I need to do that's a part of the work is cutting some ties, cutting people out of my life who don't need to be there. But because they've been there for so long and I've allowed them to occupy so big of a space in my life, it's kind of hard to let that go, because you start to feel empty. You start to feel like you need that person when you really don't. You just allow them to occupy so much space in your life, and you've occupied so much space in theirs. So it's like a symbiotic relationship where neither person really needs the other. It's just you've been doing it for so long that you've convinced yourself that you need it. So I've been having to do a lot of searching within, a lot of, self diagnostics, and just really being honest with myself about what it is that I want, where it is that I'm trying to go, and how I can get there. And, who do I really need around me? What type of energy, what type of vibes, and being honest with myself about, do the people that I have around me bring that type of energy, bring that type of vibe, bring everything that I need the people around me to bring to the table? And do I give off the things that I need to give off to attract the people that I need? So, it's just been a lot of honest conversations with myself. And so, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is just letting go of those people, those friendships, those relationships, those whatever it is that you need to start letting go, that you've been scared to let go of, because you you don't want to hurt the other person, or you don't want to know what life is like without this person, or this person has become a part of your comfort zone. That word that we love to use on here. That person has become so part of your comfort zone that you don't want to let that person go, even though that person is bad for you, or this person is breaking you down. This person is doing a lot to harm you mentally and emotionally, and you may be doing the same thing to that person. But because y'all are so part of each other's comfort zones, you don't want to let that person go. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just here to kind of talk about why it's important, and I'm doing it in real time. I'm letting people go in real time, so it ain't just me talking, it's me actually going through it, me actually dealing with, the feeling a void or feeling empty, because I'm letting people go who've been such a big part of my life, even though it hasn't always been good, it's been bad, but, still they filled a big part of my life for a very long time. And, knowing that I needed to let these people go, or certain people go, for a long time, but just not being able to, or not just wanting to, let me not say not being able to, but just not wanting to, because they, they've been a part of my comfort zone. They've been a part of, just making a day feel, normal. And so, but what I've realized is now that I've started to let people go, that, hey, there, you can still find normalcy in other things. You can still find, just you can get into your daily rhythms, your daily routines, everything like that, with or without them. So I think it was just me wanting to my old habit of wanting to hold on to my comfort zone. That's what was keeping me, wanting to keeping me in touch with these people is just, me wanting to stay in my comfort zone, me wanting to hold on to my comfort zone, that habit, that bad choice. I don't want to keep calling it a habit. That bad choice that I've continued to make in my life over and over again is just trying to stick with things that give me comfort, even though I know that may not be the best thing for me mentally, emotionally or whatever. And so I'm learning that it wasn't even a struggle for me this time around letting certain people go, because normally I'm like, oh, this day is going by so slow, or oh, I'm so bored. That's the thing for me. When I'm bored, that's when I want to text the people and talk to the people that, again, I know I probably shouldn't. So, this time around, these past couple of days that I haven't talked to certain individuals, it hasn't been like that. I haven't thought about texting them. I haven't thought about calling them. I haven't thought about, wow, I miss our conversation. So that really has surprised me and it's given me a sense of accomplishment, but it's also given me a sense of, okay, maybe it definitely was the right thing to do. And maybe it'll stick this time around and hopefully it will. I just got to make sure that I keep in mind of what I really want and stay focused on what I need to stay focused on. But like I'm saying, the fact that I haven't had the urge to text, the fact that I haven't had the urge to hear their voice or to talk to them or just be like, man, I'm bored. Let me just do this, because I'm not gonna sit and say I haven't been bored. I have been bored, but it's been like, man, we'll turn on a TV show, turn on a movie, play the game, watch some anime, something like that. But it hasn't been, let me text this person so I know, even if it's just slow progress, I'm getting better, because I know I would have had that urge, at least, especially in those first couple of days, because this isn't my first time trying to cut individuals off. But in those first couple of days, I have the urge to text maybe 3 or 4 times in those first couple of days. And then eventually the urge will go away if I go long enough without texting them. So to not have the urge in those first couple of days this time around definitely lets me know that I'm moving forward. I'm getting better at, um, just letting people go who've been a big part of my life and who've occupied a big space in my life, so like I said, so just the fact that I don't have any interest, or I haven't had that intrusive thought of, okay, you're bored, text this person. Okay, you ain't doing nothing else, text this person. Slow day at work, man, text this person. So just the fact that I haven't had that, for me, I know for people listening, for y'all, it might not sound like a big deal. It might not sound amazing, but for me, it's huge. For me, it shows me that I'm going in the right direction. I may not know what direction I'm going in, but I know, at least for me, it feels right. It feels right in the sense that, like I said, I haven't had that urge. It hasn't been there, no matter how bored or how slow work has been or anything. I haven't had that urge. Or if I'm scrolling on any of the social medias and I see a reel that's funny, or I see a reel that was something that me and this person talked about, prior to me, but prior to us going our separate ways, I haven't had that urge to send them the reel. I haven't had the urge to, oh, I think this will be helpful for them. I haven't had any of those urges, none whatsoever. So for me personally, because I know my pattern, I know my bad decision making, the fact that it hasn't even crossed my mind, or it's not even something that I've thought about up to this point, is huge for me. Now that I'm sitting down in front of this camera and actually reflecting on the fact on that, it's huge for me. It's big. It lets me know that maybe this time around it'll stick. Hopefully, I'm going to speak life into it. So this time around it's going to stick, and I won't fold. Even if that person does reach out to me, I won't fold and get back into my old patterns. I can I can I can show myself, hey, you're at peace right now. Hey, you're in a good space right now. Hey, you're doing well for yourself. This conversation, these people aren't, excuse me, these people aren't necessary for your peace. They aren't necessary for your happiness. They might be necessary for your comfort zone, but you don't need your comfort zone. And so, I know that eventually, if the conversation or if the phone call does happen, if I do receive that phone call or whatever, I know I'm going to have to battle that, because I know that my comfort zone is going to want to go right back into that. But I'm doing my best, especially with therapy and, and just talking to, my people around me, of battling that, and knowing that that's not what's best for me. So I can see the progress. I can feel the progress just, in these couple of days of not even having that desire to want to step back into that, and being able to be honest with myself and say, hey, that was just a comfort zone thing. That wasn't something that was, it got to a point to where it was no longer a productive and progressive relationship or bond, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't doing anything productive or progressive for me. It was just very stagnant. And like I said, it was just something that I did every day. So it just became a comfort thing for me instead of something that was positive. Not to say it didn't have its positive moments, but it was mostly just a stagnant. It was mostly just a stagnant thing. It wasn't really doing nothing. It wasn't moving the needle one way or the other. It was just more so you just staying in this one spot. And so, but again, you know how, because I've said it on here before, how much I'll fight for how much I fought for my comfort zone, but I'm still also fighting. It's not as the comfort zone isn't as strong of it doesn't have as strong of a hold or as strong of a pull on me. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm over it, or it doesn't have any control or any pull on me whatsoever. So it does still have a pull, obviously, because I was still, you know, I was still having these bonds that I knew weren't healthy. I knew they weren't good for me. I knew they were putting me in a headspace that I didn't want to be in. And 9 times out of 10, I was probably putting them in headspaces they didn't want to be in and they don't need to be in. So I'm hoping for all parties involved that, this break, does well or does positive things for everybody involved. And I mean, and honestly, because it's not in my nature to be like, to naturally just be like, and if it doesn't do anything positive for them, as long as it's doing something positive for me, great. I just don't think like that. But I do understand that it's working for me. It's putting me in a better headspace, and I would hate it if it isn't doing the same thing for them. But I'm not going to keep sacrificing my mental and emotional well being for other people. I don't wish nothing bad to happen, or I don't wish negative on them. But at some point, I have to look out for myself, and I have to, like I've said before, show up for myself. So this is one of the ways where I can show up for myself by not continuing to have not continuing to use this use those relationships as crutches, and that I like us, because like I said, I know now that I've been known, let me not say now, I've been known for a long time that these were not healthy bonds, and these were not healthy friendships. You know what I'm saying? They may have been at one point in time, and me trying to hold on to the past, or me trying to hold on to the hope that it'll get there at some point. I stayed in those bonds way too long. And that's not to say that maybe it doesn't get there at some point in the future, but right now, where I am in life and where they are in life, it's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to mesh, and it's not going to fit. Those puzzle pieces just aren't fitting, so I can't say what the future holds, but what I do know is, as of right now, this is the best thing for me. And I'm hoping and praying that it's the best thing for them. And if it isn't, my prayers and wishes go out to them, that they can figure out whatever it is that they need to figure out to get to a point where, they're able to get to a better space, whatever that requires, whether that's therapy, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I pray that they get that, and I hope that they get that, because for me, I understand how peaceful and how beautiful it is to be able to sometimes sit in your silence and not allow those intrusive, number one, not to even have those intrusive thoughts, but even when you have them, not to let them control you. And so, like all most of yesterday, I just kind of was able to just sit in my silence and just not allow. First of all, I didn't really have those intrusive thoughts. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, man, text this person, or I wonder what this person's doing. I wonder how they're doing. I wonder how their day going. I wonder how they're feeling and things like that. I didn't have those thoughts not one time. I didn't have a thought of texting not one time. So it's just kind of like, cool, you know what I'm saying? Great. It's a surprise to be, like I said, when I'm sitting down reflecting on it now in front of this camera doing the podcast, because it wasn't something that I've been thinking about over the past couple of days. But I knew that I wanted to come on here and talk about being okay with breaking those bonds and breaking those chains with people, and just to actually sit down and think about it, and to say and be honest and say, I haven't even had the thought to text anybody. I haven't had the thought to reach out to these people. I haven't had that thought to send this reel or to whatever, send this piece of information or whatever. It's been cool, man. It's dead. Like I said before, it's definitely letting me know that I'm pushing and I'm moving in the right direction, and so it makes me happy. I know it may not sound like it, or it may not look like it if you're watching a podcast, but it really is a good thing for me, because I know me and I know how quickly I can fall back into negative patterns and unhealthy patterns. And so to have to not even have that thought, it's a step in the right direction. Now I got to continue doing it. I got to continue doing the work. I got to continue pushing and, moving forward and keeping my mind set where it is, and then continuing to go higher with my mindset and getting myself elevated even more. But this is a good starting point for me. And, and I'm very thankful to have the people around me to talk to me, to get on me when they know I'm not, when they know I'm lacking, or they know I'm doing stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing. And even if I don't want to hear it at the moment that they're saying it, I'm thankful that they're saying it. I'm thankful that they're putting it out there. I'm thankful that they do acknowledge it, because like I said, even if in the moment it's like I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't want to hear it, but when I have time to just sit back and reflect on the situation, it's like, man, I got good people around me who aren't yes men, who tell me, what's going on, or tell me what's what, tell me when, okay, my story ain't adding up, tell me when, okay, this ain't making sense. They tell, you know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing for me, because that's the type of person I am. And that's one of the reasons why one of the friendships didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? Is because I'm just calling it how I see it. Like something ain't adding up, something ain't making sense, something don't sound right. And I feel like if we friends like that, I should be able to come to you and tell you, but hey, it don't always work like that. And everybody don't think the same. You know what I'm saying? And I do get that, but the type of people that I want around me, I want them to be able to come to me when something ain't adding up, and I want to be able to do the same for them. And so, man, it was probably just something that needed to happen. Well, it ain't a problem. It definitely needed to happen. It's happened. And now, it's just better for all parties involved to just continue to move forward in their separate ways. And who knows what the future has in store. I don't know. I can't really focus on that right now. I got so much work and so many things to do right now that's right here in front of me, that I can't really focus on too much that's in the distant future. You know what I'm saying? I got to focus on the things and the work and the prep that I got to put into right now, to get, to be a better person today than I was yesterday, and hopefully be even better tomorrow. So those things, as far as like, where is there a space for this person, or will there ever be a space? Those are things that I just can't afford to think about right now, because I got my own struggles, my own battles, my own real life things that I'm trying to battle with, to get better, and things that I'm just battling through, with the people around me, just trying to sometimes not allow myself to sink into a depression or into despair, because it's just, you know, a lot goes on, and it's like y'all already know, like when one thing happened, another's right behind it, and another and another and another. And so, it just feels like it's very easy to start to drown in, in self pity or despair, depression. It's so easy to get stuck and just start drowning. So, I don't, I've been trying my best to not focus on those negative things, or I've been doing my best to find positivity in every negative situation. And honestly, I can honestly say it's not as hard as I thought it was. It's just, for me, I was so stuck on focusing on the negative that it did seem hard to find a positive in these negative situations. But when when I actively chose to think about what's something positive that's come from this, it's been pretty easy to find positive things. And it's also about changing your perspective on what's something positive. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things we take for granted that we don't even think of as positive. So something just in general that people might, again, especially in the United States, I know around the world, it ain't always like that everywhere, but something simple as running water, electricity, being able to have a fan, being able to have AC, when it's hot outside, or heating when it's cold outside. Those are things, what I'm saying, positive things. But because we've had it for so long, we can take those things for granted. So over the past couple of days, when I can sit down and really just think about positive things that have come out of negative situations that's been happening over let's just say the past month in my life, it's been pretty easy to find positivity. It's been pretty easy to find something to take out of every situation, a lesson that, that I can learn from, something that I can take and just add to my, my positive things, my pros of, like, okay, what's positive things that's been happening over the past couple of months, because I can list out plenty of negative things, but in every single negative thing, is there something positive I can take from it? And there has been. And it's, like I said, it's been a lot easier than I thought it would be, because I'm going in with the mindset of what's something positive that I can take from it, So it hasn't been, so that's helped me stay out of that, falling into that depression, or falling into that self doubt, or, these things that I normally would fall into when things aren't going the way I want them to, or when things aren't going the way I expect them to, or just when negative things are just happening, period, that are just out of my control. I can't control things. And, and I'm learning to truly accept that, to truly understand that, and to truly accept that I can't control everything, and I have to be, okay with the results, or the outcome of whatever happens with things that I can't control. It's out of my hands. I literally have nothing to do with it. I can't sit here and change the results. I can't affect the results because I have nothing to do with it. The only thing that I can do is just get better at the things that I can control, and and that's it. And having a positive, doing better, to have a positive mindset throughout everything, and which isn't the easiest, or which hasn't been the easiest thing for me, because, like I said, I get so stuck on the negative things when they happen, and I dwell in those negative things, and I stay in those negative things, and they go from like a negative thing, like a negative moment, to a negative day, to a negative week, to a negative month for me. So, so I know how easy it is for me to get caught up in the negativity, and allowing the negativity to allowing that moment to be more than just a moment, because I stay in it. So I'm learning to get myself out of it. I'm learning to pull myself out of those moments, and just allowing them to just be moments, a bad moment, something bad happened. Now learn from it. Is there something I could have done to do better, or to change the outcome? If there is, I got to learn. I got to work on it. I have to fix that, whether that's a mindset, whether that's, just walking away from the situation, whatever it is. I have to learn those things. And so that's the beautiful thing about me going to therapy and, really seeking the help and really doing the work that I need to do to get to where I want to be. Because I know I've talked on here a lot about doing the work and how important the work is. But like I said in the last episode, I have been running from the work. I haven't been doing the work. And part of the work, which is today's episode, was cutting some of those people off that I know aren't good for me, at least for where I am right now. They're not the people that I need around me because they don't. And again, and it's not necessarily their fault because, they're going through things too. And it's like, well, I guess the trauma bonding thing. And I don't want to continue being around somebody just so we can trauma bond, or just because I can feed negative things in you and you can feed negative things to me, or we can just feed each other's comfort zone. And that's why we're staying, because it's comfortable. I want people to be around me because they want to be around me, or I want to have people around me who motivate me, who inspire me, who push me to be better, do better, get the greater heights. They can see something in me that I may not see in myself, and they're willing to work with me to get it out, to get that whatever it is out of me. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, and so that's been a part of my work, and that's been one of the things that I've been running from as far as the work is like cutting these ties and cutting these bonds and moving forward, or having these tough conversations, because I know they need to be had, right? I do know that, but I also know that it is, number one, it isn't an easy thing, but I know I can make an excuse for anything, what, almost anything, you know what I'm saying? And so that's just what it's been. I've just been making the excuse like, hey, I'll do it tomorrow. Hey, I'll this and that. And you know what I'm saying? But sure enough, some things happen, and it did it on its own. And when the situations happened, I wasn't frustrated. I wasn't mad. I wasn't nothing. It was just one of those things like, I saw this coming. I knew I should have expected it to come. And part deep down I did. I knew that at some point, because it had been building up. So it was just like, so when it happened, it was just one of those, yeah, that's about right. And so now that, like I've said, now that I'm just kind of in it, and I haven't been thinking about it, and I haven't been thinking about going backwards, I haven't been thinking about moving backwards, it's definitely been a positive thing for me. And it's definitely made having those conversations with other people a lot easier, because I know that I'm in a space now where I can accept the outcome of whatever those conversations are. Well, if the results of those conversations is, hey, I don't get to talk to that person anymore, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? I know that I can be okay with it. I know life will go on. I know I'll be okay. I'll be good. I'll be able to continue doing my work. I'm not going to stop and be in this negative space how I used to be. I know that I've grown a lot, in this past year, because I know it's getting ready to come up on a year since I've been doing the podcast. So in this past year, I know I've grown a lot. Yes, I've had some setbacks. Yes, I've had to um have some honest conversations with myself and tell myself that, hey, you're not doing what you need to do, or hey, you're not doing the stuff that you say is important in these podcasts. You haven't been doing the work. And so it's been tough. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, therapy has been tough, and talking to the people around me has been tough, and I've been having to hear some things that I didn't want to hear, but I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? So that's the message that I want to say to, the people around me, and to my therapist, if she ever sees it. I want to say thank you. I don't be wanting to hear it in the moment, but thank you. I do appreciate it, because I do listen. I may not want to hear it in that moment, but understand that your words are being heard, and I am processing everything that y'all are saying. So I want to say thank you to all, to everybody who's just been on my behind and telling me, the things that I need to hear. I just want to say thank y'all. I really do appreciate it, because I know that it isn't always an easy thing to do for somebody that you care about, but I know it's necessary. So again, thank you. But that's all. But that just kind of wraps up the conversation for today. Is, man, if you know that there are some bonds or some friendships or some relationships or some exes or whatever it is that you still got floating around you, kind of in this weird, awkward, space with each other, and you know that it ain't bringing any positivity in your life, it's not bringing anything productive to your life, it's not progressing anything in a positive way or in a forward way for you, it's okay to start cutting those ties. It's okay to start cutting those chains. It's okay to start having those tough conversations and letting these people go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy once you let them go. I'm not saying you won't have those urges to call that person or to text that person or to bring that person back into your life. But just understand, if you having an honest assessment of everything and you know that this person isn't doing anything positive, and on top of that, you know for a fact that they're causing you emotional, physical, spiritual, mental damage, it's time to start letting those people go. It's okay to let them go. You know what I'm saying? I understand you might be staying because of guilt. You might be staying because of sense of duty. You might be staying because you feel like you're the only person for that person. But at some point, you got to put yourself first. You got to put your emotions, your feelings, you know what I'm saying, your spiritual being, your physical being first, and say, hey, I got to start doing stuff for me because I'm drowning right now. I'm hurting right now. And this ain't helping me. Holding on to that anchor isn't going to help you get to, you know what I'm saying, get to the other side. So it's time to start cutting those chains, cutting those anchors, and get to where you need to be. And if at some point in the future y'all are able to reconnect, great. And if not, then so be it. But it's okay to start cutting those chains, man. But I want to say thank you to everybody listening on all the platforms or whatever platforms you're listening on, and to everybody watching on YouTube. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I want to continue growing. I want to say thank y'all. I love y'all. And I want y'all to have a blessed day and a blessed week.